Heather, I'm making this video to get you started in your ability to handle your CZ-83. The first thing I want you to do is get a pair of rubber gloves. The reason we use rubber gloves is because we're using solvents and there's lead involved in firearms, and we don't want to have the contaminants be absorbed by our hands. So we use rubber gloves. Now the next thing I want you to do is go to the gun store, if you haven't already done so, and purchase gun cleaning equipment. You don't necessarily need a gun cleaning kit. They charge you more for a gun cleaning kit than they do charge you for the individual parts. So just what do you need in a gun cleaning kit? Well, the first thing you need is a cleaning rod. You need a cleaning rod that is small enough to be inserted into the, I shouldn't do that, not yet. Small enough to be inserted into the barrel of your pistol. They make bigger ones. This wouldn't fit into the barrel. Make sure you get a smaller one. Then you also need to buy bore brushes. So this is a cleaning rod. Then you need bore brushes. You have a CZ-83, which is a 380 caliber, so you need a bore brush that's going to do a 380 caliber. They come in a package like this. Then you also need bore cleaner. You can get Hoppe's, you can get Remington, or any generic. Hoppe's number 9 has been around for 100 years. It's a good bore cleaner. So is Remington. But then you also need a good light gun oil. Okay? Then you need, from the bathroom, a couple of toothbrushes, and you need to buy some patches. The 380 is a smaller caliber firearm, smaller patches as opposed to bigger patches. If you buy all these things, find a box that you want to keep them in. Right here on my side is my gun cleaning box, but then I have a lot more stuff. You also need what's called a jag. This is a jag. You see it's got a little point to it. You make sure you get a jag that fits the caliber of 380. And you'll see how I show you how we clean this in just a minute. So now I've got my gun cleaning stuff, and now I have to pick up my gun. We want to treat all firearms as if they are loaded. Anything you point this at, you can destroy. So the first thing we want to do is make sure there is no ammunition in this area. No ammunition in the gun cleaning or gun handling area when we're manipulating the firearm. So if you have to pause now, do that and go take the ammunition away. If there's any ammunition in the gun, then what you'd want to do is you pick up the firearm, being careful where you point it. It's like a laser. Don't point it at anything you don't wish to destroy. Now, your CZ-380 has a magazine release right here. You push that magazine release and it will drop the magazine. Make sure that there's no ammunition in the magazine and set it aside. Your CZ-380 is a knockoff or a replica of a Walther PPK. This is an Irma X-Cam, which is also a knockoff or a replica of a Walther PPK. There are a few things on your CZ that are not on this firearm, but the general performance is the same. On the side of your firearm, right here, you have a lever that goes up. That lever, when you force the slide to the rear, that lever holds the slide to the rear. That's the slide lock. Okay, this gun doesn't have one. However, you want to move that slide lock back and lock it, and then you want to turn the firearm over and look to make sure in the chamber there's no round. You also then want to make sure you look down in the magazine well that there's no round and that the firearm is safe and clear. Okay, leave it cocked. You'll see why in a second. Now we're going to disassemble the firearm and clean it before we fire it. So yours is already cocked and it's to the rear. Right, just leave it that way. Now, no, don't leave it that way. Let it go forward. Let it go forward. Don't squeeze the trigger. You're going to reach into the trigger guard. Set it down. You're going to reach into the trigger guard and you're going to pull the trigger guard to the rear. Down. Then you're going to grasp the slide and pull it to the rear. Once you've started to do that, take it all the way to the rear. This is disconnected. You're going to take it all the way to the rear, lift it up, and bring it forward. Carefully, there's a spring in there. Bring it forward, put your thumb underneath. You'll feel the spring come out. Lay the firearm down. Here's your spring. Spring, slide or receiver. And this is the receiver. Here's your barrel. Here's your hammer. Here's your trigger. Here's your mechanism. The first thing we want to do is take our cleaning rod. We want to put a 380 brush into the cleaning rod. We want to take a little bore cleaner, put it on the brush, and then we want to insert it into the barrel. I know it goes because I did it before. There we go. 1, 2. We can also do it from the rear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wipe this off on a towel and take this off, put it aside, put the jag on. Now the reason I switched and did it from the rear instead of the front, this is the accurate end. You really don't want to mess with that too much. You don't want to chip it up or anything like that. So you clean it from the back end, the chamber end. Now I've got the jag. The jag fits through. Now I want to take a patch, put it on the point of the jag, and force it through. Keep going. There we are. I like to use them again. I turn it over and use it the second time. There we go. Okay. We take another one. What I want to do now is take just a little bit of oil, just a drop. That's all. And I want to push that through. It gives it a little lubricant. Push that through. And out she came. She's clean. And now there's lubrication in the barrel. So that's clean. Now then I want to take a little bit of the bore cleaner. Just a little on the toothbrush. And I want to clean this up. Okay. Then I want to take a patch. I have the bigger patches. And I want to wipe all this off. You might want to take a smaller toothbrush, which is, I have one of those here, which is a gun cleaning toothbrush. And that way you can use the smaller end to push the patch down inside and get it into all the little teeny parts and clean it up. Get underneath, clean it up. It's got a little bit of lubricant, it's got bore cleaner on it, but we want to take another little patch, just one drop. That's all. A drop and a half. And then we want to wipe it off with the oil to prevent rust. Using this, get the oil under here. Get this going through here. There we go. In here. I'm using the teeth on the toothbrush to get the patch into all the crevices. And we're getting all that excess oil off. You don't need a lot of lubricant on these modern day firearms. The lubricant draws dirt and that causes them to malfunction. Okay, so now that's nice and clean. We also want to take this spring, clean it up, wipe the magazine down because your fingers are always all over this, and that's called the follower. Wipe the follower off, base plate. And we want to do the same thing to the slide. Now this slide, of course, was already fairly clean, but I have a little bit of lubricant on here, and I'm wiping it off using this to get into the finger grooves to make sure they're clean. And we want to get inside here into the mechanism, into the grooves, to make sure everything's clean and lubed. There we go. Now the other thing we want to make sure we do is the face of the bolt. The face of the bolt, which is here, right here. We want to clean this firearm this way. A little bore cleaner on this toothbrush. This is a narrow toothbrush, which is you need here. That's so none of the junk gets down into the firing pin channel. And then we want to use this small end and this and wipe it off. There we go. Alright. Looks like it's ready to be assembled. It's a pretty quick cleaning job, but you get the idea. So now, mine has a piece here that always comes out that yours does not have. So now I'm going to put that piece back in before we assemble yours. Okay, there. Now, first thing we do is pick it up, put the spring on, take the slide, put it in here. All right, set it down, take it all the way to the rear, and drop the trigger guard. Pull it out. There. Now, whoops, that little piece came out again. It won't come out on yours because you don't have this little piece. There it is. Okay. Pull the trigger guard down. Take this all the way to the rear. There it goes, and you take it all the way to the rear, and it'll drop down over toward these two grooves. These two grooves back here, it'll drop down over the grooves and come forward. Well, as soon as it comes forward, make sure you can get your trigger guard back in place. Now to make sure you've got it together correctly, now you work the slide, squeeze the trigger, work the slide, squeeze the trigger, hit it from the rear, and we want to take the patch with no lubrication on it and wipe it all off. Make sure the hammer's down. It's on safe. You'll see a red dot, that means fire. Leave it on safe with the hammer down. It's unloaded. Put the magazine back in. You have an unloaded firearm that's been cleaned. We'll work on actually loading it, holding it, stance, breathing, trigger control, sight picture, sight alignment, some tactical stuff because I think you bought it for self-protection. As soon as this virus thing is over and we can get back together. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's been beneficial to you, and I look forward to meeting you when we do the class.